I see you looking at my headscarf and I know you want it. It's beautiful, isn't it? I know. But you know what? This one's mine. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own bandana style headscarf. But you know the best part about it? They're lined. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, I'm Vanessa S of By Vanessa S and welcome to my channel. And if you've been here before, welcome back to my channel. Yes, in this video we are making lined, beautiful, lined bandana style headscarves. Okay, so for this project you are going to need some fabric. You'll need fabric for the outer layer, which is going to be the outer part of your headscarf, and then you're going to need the lining, okay? And you will need thread, scissors, or some type of a cutting tool. I'm using my rotary cutters today. And you will need a pattern. Now the good news is I have a pattern for you for free download. You can find it in the description box. Click on it and you can download it. All right. So today I'm going to use this beautiful cotton. It's a Ankara, African Ankara fabric. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to use this, and then my lining is going to be this satin. There's no stretch to this, okay? And then you've got the shiny side and the rough side. You can use silk or you can use satin, but the goal is to use a fabric that's not going to pull your hair out. So this is going to be silk or satin. Now, another note for you is if you're going to use a fabric that's really light, like this polyester fabric, it's really light and flowy. And you can use this, but if you use something light and flowy like this, you definitely don't want this type of a lining, unless you want it to be a little bit stiffer of a scarf. If you use something light and flowy like this, you want something equally light so that the movement, you can still have the same movement. Or like I said, you can use something like this that's a little bit stiffer and it's just going to give you a little bit more stiffness, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut out the pattern and then for both the lining and the fabric, and then I'll be back. Now that I have my pieces cut out, this is the lining. And this is going to be the outer part, the actual scarf outside part. And this part, the back, if you're using this type of fabric, the shiny part is going to be the part that's next to my hair, and this is going to be on the flip side of the fabric. Okay, so let's talk about the pattern itself. And like I said, I have this pattern ready for you for free download. The information is in the description box. Click on the link and go from there. So the size of this pattern is 35 inches wide this way. And as you can see, it's triangular and it's 17 3/4 in length. And then each side, okay, has 25 inches on each side. And then what you'll notice, especially when you get your pattern, you download your pattern, there's a 1-inch band here, okay, 1 inch. And that's because that's where the band is going to be on your forehead. And then the rest of it is going to be the lined fabric. And the reason why I do it that way is because I like that part can be exposed, and I want it to be neatly and professionally exposed. And so it just looks really nice. Okay, so like I said, go ahead and get your free pattern, cut out your fabrics, and let's get to sewing. Now you might need some clips. One thing I did not say is that you might need fabric weights. Some people use them, some people don't. For something like this, you may not need them. If you're an experienced sewer, you may not need them. If you are a beginner sewer, it helps you to keep your fabric placed nicely while you're cutting it, especially when you're dealing with the silky fabric, because silky fabrics tend to move. So having your fabric weights there. And then also, once you cut your pattern out, this is what it's going to look like. So this is, make sure that you know your top and your bottom side, okay? Your right and your wrong side, as we say. In this case, this is the wrong side. And if you have a cotton where you have to iron it, where it needs to be ironed, I would go ahead and do that before you cut it out. Okay, so you want to lay your fabric flat, and then right sides together. All right, so this is, like I said, this is the right side. So we'll put this on the right side. Okay, and then the right side of your lining, you're just going to put it on top of there. And you'll find this is an easy project, very easy. But the ending result is beautiful. Okay, and so you're going to line them up. And don't worry if it doesn't line up perfectly, because it really just doesn't matter in the end. But more than likely what happens is if you didn't cut the two pieces together, they look different. Some your lining might be cut shorter, or your fabric might be cut shorter. It's not going to really hurt anything unless there's a significant difference. I'm going to use these clips. I like these for projects like this because I don't really need to pin it, and I don't really need to have it, you know, too stable while I'm trying to sew it. Okay, that's good enough for me. Okay, that's good enough for me. All right, so let's go over to the sewing machine and sew. Okay, so I'm going to sew this in 3 parts. I'm going to sew the long side first, and then I'm going to go back and sew the left and the right side. You definitely want to start at the tip, the very tip, because the tip part of it is the ties. And so you want that nice crisp angle. Definitely want to just line it up like so. And stick it right at the tip. Make sure your needle can get right there at the tip. Put your needle down. Line it up again. Just with your hands. Okay. And then definitely give it your first couple of stitches and then back stitch just to lock it in. Okay. Now I'm just going to sew it around the long side and then both edges. And you always want to go back and check to make sure that the two fabrics are lined up and that you're sewing on. And I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can tell what you're using by the measurements on your sewing machine right up here. Okay, so now I am on side number 3. I'm on the last triangle side. And here's a tip for you beginners. Okay, when you're doing something like this where it has a tip, you want to get as close to the tip end as possible. And if you have to make a pivot, if you have to turn, the best thing to do is to put your needle into the fabric and then lift up your presser foot and then make the shift to turn it around. Okay, that's just a tip for our beginners. All right, and so now notice I have extra fabric. That is okay. We're going to get rid of the extra fabric in the end. Okay, now I'm just going to continue on and sew this side. Now when I get to the end, I'm going to leave a small gap, and I'll show you when I get to that point. Okay, so I have finished that side, and notice I left it a very small, it's just a very small gap. You can make it small if you want a little larger. And the reason why this is important is because this is how we're going to bring the rest of the lining and the fabric into play into a headscarf. Okay, so now we have both pieces sewn together, all right? And as you can see, there's some extra, and that's okay. When you're sewing silky, slinky type fabric, there's going to be a shift, and that's okay because it's going underneath, and just as long as it's not bulky, it'll work just fine. Sometimes I have more fabric than I need, but you never want less fabric than you need. Okay, all right. And so now what we're going to do is get rid of the bulk. Now because we're dealing with the silky type fabric, I'm going to use my pinking shears to cut the excess off. And also because I don't want it to be bulky when I turn it over. So I'm just cutting through the bulk on both the fabric and the lining. And if you haven't already, while I continue to do this, please ring the bell so you'll be notified of new videos as they are released. Subscribe to my channel, and definitely like it if you have found this video of value. All right, so now we are going to take the fabric and the lining sewn together, and this little hole, the gap that I told you to put in there, we're going to turn the scarf inside out. And you can make it the hole a little larger if you want. You just don't want it to be too large, because it's really not necessary. Just as large as you need it to be to get the scarf all the way through. Okay, so now I'm going to take my little corner tool and go back into the area with the gap. Okay, here's the area with the gap. And I'm going to take my tool, just gather this, just kind of want to gather it so that you can get to this edge here. Because what you want to do is push it all the way out. Now you can probably push it with your finger, and that's fine. What I find is this tool helps to get the fine point of it, to get it all the way out. And if you don't have one, that's fine. You don't have to use it, or you can use a pen or something. I prefer using this because, see there, you can get it in here and get that point out just like you want it. Okay, now that we have sewn our lining to our fabric, we are going to start making it into the scarf that we want. To do that, the first thing you're going to do is iron it. Now you want to use a steam iron, and you want to press down the edges, okay? And you want them to be flush, because right now it's puffy. As you can see, everything is puffy. So you want to press everything down so that there's a distinct difference between the fabric and the lining, and you don't see it, okay? You want to press it all the way down. Now that I have my edges nicely pressed, okay, and just laying flat, there's two things you want to do. Now is the time to make some adjustments if you need to. So like for instance, this at the tip of this one, I cut it a little bit too close, but it's okay because I can take it and I can machine stitch it, or I can just hand stitch that little piece. So you want to check for those, okay? The other thing is you want to go ahead and close this part up. To do that, you're just going to put the two together, and because it's the edge, so you're going to put the two together and just sew it. Just sew it straight down. You can hand stitch it or you can use the machine. This is the tip, so it's not going to be that visible. If you really want to get it to look like the rest of it, you can put the two sides into each other like this and just make a cone, and then just go ahead and sew it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just stitch from here to here on my sewing machine. All right, so now turn your scarf onto its fabric side like this. Then you want to flip this part, the top part that's going to be near your forehead. You want to turn it over 1 inch. Now here's a ruler. Normally I would just, flip it over, but I'm going to show you what 1 inch should look like. You have 1 inch on your pattern. You can do two things. You can mark it on your fabric or mark it on your lining, or you can use a ruler, or the three things. You can turn it over and measure with your finger. But I want 1 inch, and it doesn't have to be a perfect 1 inch. It just needs to be about 1 inch there, and that's where I want it. And I want it this way all the way across. And so now I'm going to iron it. Okay, so now that it is ironed, I've ironed this part down. As you can see, when you turn it over, this is going to be the part that's on your head. This is going to be the underlining. This is what you see. This is going to be on your forehead, and then the rest of this is going to protect your hair. Now what you want to do is top stitch. So you're going to, starting from here, right here at this corner, you're going to top stitch from here all the way to the end. And it can just be one straight top stitch, and that's it. Now, as far as your ties go, don't worry about the ties being right side in, lining side out. I'm going to fix this, because when you tie it, it's going to tie with your fabric side on the outside, depending on how you tie it. So don't worry about that. So let's go ahead and get this stitched up, this top stitch right here, which is this stitching that's going to be for your 1 inch band. Something that I want to point out to you when you're doing your top stitch, so it's folded over. And so when you put your fabric into your sewing machine, you want to place your presser foot. Let's see if I can get you to see this presser foot. You want to put your presser foot right on the edge here, like that. And you still want it to have a center stitch. Now you can feel where the edge is. If you put your finger right here, you can feel it. So when you're placing your presser foot down, you want to put it on the edge, and you want to make sure that the needle is going to be to the right or either to the left, wherever you want it, of this edge, so that you don't go over the edge and it doesn't stitch. So a good rule of thumb is to put your finger right here, not while you're running the machine, okay? Just to know where your needle is as opposed to where your presser foot is. So right here is my groove right there, and I want everything to stay on this side of it, okay? So let's get started here. Again, I have it on the center. I have it stitching in the center, and I'm going to give it a stitch, and then a back stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to keep this presser foot straight right here on the edge while it sews this top stitching. And you don't have to go very fast. You go to your speed or your pace, but just keep it straight, as straight as you can. Okay, so I have top stitched the headscarf. You can see it there. All right, it's top stitched all the way. Now's the time to make any other adjustments that you need to, as far as the tips. Maybe you need to hand stitch or something like that. But for the most part, this is done. It's beautiful. I love the fabric. I love the lining. And this is my new headscarf, my lined headscarf. And so there you have it. I can't wait to see what you all make. Drop me a line. My email is in the description box. Also, remember, the pattern is in the description box. It is a free download. And if I haven't said it before, which I know I have, please subscribe. Also, like and ring the bell so that you'll be notified of future videos. That's it for me. I will see you all next time.